Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this episode of 22 Minutes. I am Jason Bates, and I'm going to be bringing you the lender side of things, and he is Stephen Cotton. He's going to be bringing us the realtor side of things. And hang on one second here. I'm stuttering. I'm freezing up here a little bit. That's all right. We're just going to go straight to... I lost a there it is. All right. There we are. Sorry, a little technical. Huh?
There he is.
There he is. There we are together. We hope to not only... Can you hear me?
Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
I can hear you, but can they hear us?
Yeah. Could they not hear us?
Well, she says you can't, but I think maybe it's on the volume. Turn the volume up, baby. It's my wife. So let's turn the
yeah. I'm getting good signal here that we are part of it. So we hope to not only entertain you, but also bring you that valuable content that you can use when you're looking to buy, sell, refinance, or invest in property. So if you're looking to do any of those things, please reach out to us. We would love to hear from you and represent you in your American dream pursuit. So please reach out to us. Hey, if you're watching us from Facebook, as I said in the pre-show, please like our page. Head over to our page at 22 Mins. And then like the page, share with your friends and family, or if anybody that you know is looking to buy a home, sell a home, share it with them as well, as they may get some valuable information from this as well.
Yeah, it is so great.
Yes, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Pretty excited about this one. I'm going to pull up my notes here real quick. Before we get to the meat and potatoes of the show, we always do a tweet quote of the day, so let's get to that real quick. All right. I thought this was kind of simple, but effective, right? When nothing goes right, go left. This can be a little bit of a challenge right now, especially if you're a first-time home buyer here in Phoenix or even across the country, as there's a little bit of a shortage of supply of homes.
Right.
And so it doesn't feel like things are going right because your offer's not getting accepted or stuff like that. Get with an agent who's going to think a little bit out of the box for you in getting your home. Right? Intent.
Right.
Intent. Don't get discouraged, I guess, is the deal. Just figure out a different path to take to get to the end goal, I guess, is the moral of that story.
Michelle's saying I'm not as loud as you. I know your mic is coming in really loud on my headphones, but I don't know. I thought that was just my volume.
Oh. Okay, well, I'll take a look here. I'll turn it up here. I hear you just fine.
Yeah, so who cares about everyone else? Right? No.
I'm not. Your mic is like totally loud as it can be here,
perfect.
Brother. So as loud as I can make it here for you.
All right.
So hopefully, maybe it's the internet connection or something like that.
Well, let's go to the left and let's get this party started.
Okay, let's do this, man. We got a lot of stuff to cover. I hit the wrong button. Whoops. All right, hang on. Things are going a little bit awry here. Hang on. Here we go. We're going to bring it back here. All right, cool. Back to center. Hey, we want to dive into these numbers. We mentioned on Tuesday, which is why I hit that button there. We mentioned on Tuesday there was a report that came out last week. Fisher Center of Real Estate and Urban Economics, UC Berkeley, put out a report that went into the barriers of homeownership in the United States. And what are those barriers? What are some of the things that are preventing people from purchasing a home? We've heard in the news here as of recent. This stat here that I have up here on the screen, I'll zoom in on it here a little bit. Home ownership rate. At the very end there, we are starting to tick back up, but you can see it is very low, home ownership. And you would think that with low interest rates, the economy somewhat bouncing back, that number would be a little bit higher than what it is. So UC Berkeley went into some of the things that they felt were kind of a barrier, if you will, for people. So we're We're going to dive into those numbers here.
Okay, good. I have already questions, but let's dive into the numbers. Maybe the questions will answer or maybe the numbers will answer my questions. So let's go.
Yes. So one of the things that and I'm pulling up because I highlighted this article. This article is like 50 or 70 pages long, so it's it's like a book here, right? Now, one of the things that kind of pointed out here is millennials. Particular importance as the large millennial generation continues to reach the age where people traditionally marry, have children, and buy homes. The homeownership rate for millennial households remains significantly depressed as of the first quarter of 2017. The homeownership rate for households aged 25 to 29 was 30%, 30.9, down 10.9%. Says, given the limited recovery in homeownership rates, it is crucial to understand the key barriers that are preventing renter households from transitioning to homeownership in order to focus on potential policy solutions to help revive the American dream in this country. So this report is really, I think, going to start spurring some changes that are going to start happening here for us. So let's get on to the next slide here. This slide here kind of, and I'll zoom in here for us so you can see it, really kind of breaks down the age groups. And I'm sorry it's cut off there just on the left-hand side, but I think we get the point. You can see from the peak, from the previous slide there in 2004, 2008, I think it was, that's the peak. That designates the peak. And then the current rate of home ownership by household type. So
I see a lot of the 30-year-olds down 10% is crazy.
Yeah, it's a big number, especially in that age group of millennials, right? It's a big number. So now the article does say here, through credit standards loosens, though credit standards loosened slightly since the end of the Great Recession, and mortgage lending has slowly improved, mortgages remain largely inaccessible to millions of households. Now, I highlighted this sentence here because I don't know, man. I feel like it is accessible. Maybe they're just not talking to the right people.
Right.
Maybe we've done a bad job as an industry getting the word out there. When you're, 620 credit score and you can get a house with down payment assistance, that seems to be pretty accessible in my eyes. I don't know.
But remember, and we talked about this before, that people's mindset is that you need 20% down. A lot of people think you need 20% down. Like more than a third of the people think you need 20%.
Yeah. I don't understand that. So I guess we've done a bad job in communicating what is truly needed to do that. Now, as a result, we've seen credit companies, Fannie Mae, credit companies, even taking like collections and things like that, going to take it off the credit reports in an effort to help boost those credit scores. Yeah. Maybe a lot of people just have bad credit, 500 credit score kind of thing. But that's not necessarily the case either, because we'll see on the next slide here.
All right.
So this slide here, is the share of total mortgage originations by credit score. So in the blue is a 760. So you can see, as of recent, credit criteria has come up quite a bit, and they're taking a large market share.
I think, what this tells me is the people's credits have moved up from 2006, right?
Yeah. Well, and we've got fewer people, though, that are homeowners, too. So it's kind of a skewed number. Right. But, the vast majority, it seems like the people who are getting money are the people who don't need money. And this is why Ben Carson has been on that tour, which he's going to announce shortly, some of the changes they're going to start making to HUD to help encourage people with below 660 FICO scores to get into homes. Yeah. Let's see here. I want to go into the article goes into the approval process as well. This is one of the first factors that originators consider when evaluating whether to approve a mortgage. Credit scores are an important part of the mortgage approval process. However, credit scores actually relay very little information relevant to evaluating credit worthiness. I couldn't agree with that statement more. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's just a snapshot in time, yet we put so much of an emphasis on these credit scores for borrowers that we kind of lose looking at the total picture of the credit worthiness of an individual. So hopefully that's going to change a little bit. What are your thoughts, Stefan, on By looking at these reports, it seems to kind of encourage us to dig a little bit deeper into credit, for people. Are we going down this path of lowering the standard for homeownership?
Well, no, I think what we're trying to do is I think we're trying to break open what's not working. I mean, if we just judge everybody by this snapshot, today you're at 640, so you can get the loan. Last month you're at 620, you wouldn't have got the loan, or you would have still got the loan at 620, but maybe not the DPA, right? But
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to do is say, okay, this picture doesn't tell the story of whether or not you can be a homeowner, and I think that's fine. I mean, the whole key word is credit worthiness that you're talking about. The so to dive into these numbers here, and we see that the smaller portion of buyers are buying the houses, right? Home ownership, and then just weeding out the 660 credit score. It looks like from that second graph.
Yeah.
I think, and I just had a thing this morning. A renter got declined for poor credit. And I was thinking, well, why would you get declined for poor credit when he tells me his credit score is like 620 or something?
Yeah.
So first off, if you're going to buy it, and I want to make sure your microphone's on because that usually clicks off.
Yeah.
Get
I'm on.
Okay.
I'm good.
The just making sure the 620 creddet score is what you need to buy a house. Now he can't
Right.
get a rental with a 620 credit score, and
I know.
again, that's just so it's just
I know.
weird, right? It's just
I
a
know.
weird time.
It
But
is
we're
a
just
weird
trying to
time.
we're trying to break open that barrier and just start this conversation on why can't I buy a home if I want to buy a home, or what
Right.
do I need to do to buy a home? And
Right.
and I think Ben Carson's trying to change some of those policies and change some of these attitudes too to help
Right.
get it.
Right. And move your mic off your collar if you would there for me too, because I'm hearing that. Okay, cool. And here the next slide here is a quarterly mortgage originations by credit score. You're good. The the your little mic that comes in front of your face.
It's on my collar.
There you go. Thank you, buddy.
There we go.
All right,
Hello.
there you go. Hello. Come on. All right, so this next slide just kind of, and I'll zoom in here for us a little bit here too. This one just shows originations by credit score quarterly here. So that is, it's trending upward. That's good. That's good. But it's still not anywhere near where. I mean, look at 2003, which was considered to be kind of a normal market back then.
Right.
And look where we're at now. I mean, we're not even close. Yet the population in the United States has grown, right? There's more people of age that can purchase a home now than what there was in 2003. That's evident by the Census Bureau, right? They just did a study a couple years ago. So we're way below where we should be in terms of, home ownership in this country, which is kind of alarming in a way. Now, here's the default risk, right? So this, and I'll zoom in on this one here too. This one shows the defaults and the risk involved. So this basically tells me that our credit standards are so high that the default risk is very low. That's essentially what it shows here.
Yeah.
Because in 2003, as we just showed in the past thing, 5%, that's kind of a normal kind of price, range, if you will.
Yeah.
And then we see the cliff there in 2008 when everything kind of just dropped off and everybody was dumping their homes. But we're not even close to credit risk.
Well, there's no product risk either because we're so conservative with our financing.
Yeah, right. But it's, as I was saying before, like it feels like when we talk about some of these loosening up of the guidelines, I feel like we may be going down that path. I agree. We need to loosen up the guidelines. We need to get more homeowners. We need to help educate people on what their actual options truly are. But it feels like we're loosening it up too much that we could potentially have another crash. I don't think we're going to, of course. We've talked about that on numerous occasions, but it does give that sentiment of feeling, right, that we could be going down that road. But we're far from it. We're far from
I don't
it.
think. Well, I mean, it's just the uneducated. I'm not saying maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm 100% wrong, but I think seeing how, and I try to explain the crash from last year or last time was because people were just giving loans for something they can't afford. You can tell right here that they are being more than conservative. on getting these loans out. Now that's why there's less home ownership, but the house prices are still going upward. Although we've had a probably a 3 month slowdown here, I would say.
Yeah.
Anything above that 250 mark, but yeah, it's just interesting that people think that we're about ready to crash only based on prices when it's credit worthiness that's getting us there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This next slide here, we'll zoom in on this one here too. Just fourth quarter 2008 total household debt. So in 2008, these next two slides are very interesting to me because in 2008, the household debt, vast majority of your debt was consumed by a mortgage, right? But if you look at credit card debt, 6.8%, student loan debt in particular, we've talked about this numerous times about student loan debt only being 5%. And then now I'll just flip over to the next one here so you can see the difference. While mortgage debt remains virtually identical,
Yeah.
student loan debt doubles,
Right.
10%, right? Credit card debt, about the same, I think it was, right? A little bit lower.
Yep.
But that student loan debt is really, really, I think, stifling a lot of people from purchasing homes. And that's a big part of that millennial group.
Well, let's just say the household debt is $2,000. That's your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Just use some numbers here. So let's say 2,000 is at 67.8.
Yeah.
So 67.8% of 2,000 is about a $1,400 a month mortgage, right? 1,450
Mm-hmm.
typical. That tells me that $200 a month is going towards student loans. $180 a month is going towards the auto loan. That doesn't seem right. It seems like the auto loan's like $400, right? But
Mm-hmm.
so maybe
Now,
this
this
debt
is,
is
yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
national average. I mean, some people don't have car payments and stuff like that. So,
Sure.
but yeah,
But $120 on credit card. Yeah. I mean, so I would think that yeah, I can see what the numbers are. I'm just trying to translate them out to the people here. What these numbers mean. So I think over here for me, my car debt is bigger than my uh, credit card debt, but I don't know. Or student. I
well,
don't have any student loans, but
here's the thing about student loans that, traditionally we think of, getting a college education ends up leading to a higher paying job. Therefore, that offsets the cost of the student loan and,
right.
even increases that ratio a little bit so you can afford more home. We've gone through this period in our country where a lot of companies haven't given the pay raises that they, could because they're trying to hold on to as much cash as they possibly can. And so student loan debt has risen, but pay increases have not risen for a lot of individuals. We're just now starting to see that starting to happen in the workforce, which will, loosen up that affordability for consumers a little bit, right? But we're not there yet. That's going to take, several years for that to kind of filter down to people, in my opinion. So the student loan debt is a big impact on housing. Has a big impact. Okay.
Right. And is there stuff that's going now to remove that as a burden to purchase?
Well,
The
Fannie Mae announced, yes, Fannie Mae announced some of the things that, student loan debt can be included in refinances and things like that. If parents are making the payments on there, you don't have to show a bunch of, they loosened some of the guideline, but they
Yep.
didn't really eliminate it. It's a small percentage of people who
Right.
actually fit into that box. It's at least a step in the right direction. I think more needs to be done, but at least they're looking at it. And this is why they're looking at it because they've seen these reports, they've seen these numbers, and long-term projections. If they didn't do something, it would really stifle the housing market even more so. This next slide here, this is crazy to me. I mean, this is just insanity. The cumulative increase in college tuition costs versus overall inflation.
Yeah.
Tuition and fees. I mean, look at that, man. What is that? 350% increase
That's
since
crazy.
1990. I mean, colleges are making a boatload of money.
Well, it's not a 350 increase since 1990. It's 350% above the overall inflation of 2016. So it's proportionate to the time frame. Um, college was never um, not above the inflation rate, but it's ridiculous that if inflation is like 6%, then they're saying that this is about 20% increase over 1 year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. This is share of borrowers with $50,000 in student loan debt. Now, this is a little bit of a scary stat on this one too, and we'll let it kind of go here. But that's steadily increasing. $50,000 in student loan debt. College is getting more and more expensive, more and more
Yeah.
expensive, and wages aren't keeping up with it, so that people can pay these student loan debts in a timely fashion. So, pretty scary in that number. Now, this is encouraging here. This was very encouraging for me and for home ownership in the United States. There's a big share of people who would like to be a homeowner at some point. Millennials, they haven't given up on that American dream. I know a couple years ago we talked about millennials and they'd rather rent than buy and this and that. Not so much. I don't think they've really given up on that American dream, which is good. That's encouraging, for sure. Here's this one's a little kind of. This seems like a low number. Again, I think this kind of ties into just wages coming out of college and things like that. People who share of renters who can afford to own yet continue to rent. So they can afford to own a home. They've got the savings. They've got the down payment. Yet they elect to rent. This is a pretty small number, although I'd like to see that below 10%, I would think, for that. But
one out of every 6 renters in the Generation X can afford to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it tells me. That's choosing to rent, right? 1 out of every 6 renters can buy a house.
Yeah. Next one here, family markets with largest improvement in affordability. This is what when we look at people who would like to rent or like to own but don't. Here in 2000, now Phoenix isn't on here, but Tucson is. Look at that. Tucson's in the upper echelon there. In 2007, it was wasn't as affordable as it is now.
Right.
It's very much more affordable, 22% more affordable. Now than it was back in 2007 when we were at their peak but also again wages were much higher than that sort of thing. So
proportionally,
it's kind of proportional as far as that goes.
Okay.
This is a I wanted to put this up here. We're in historically low interest rates here. But this will show kind of give everybody a little bit of an idea, and I'll zoom in on this one here, of what the payment or the interest rate impact would have on payments here in regards to affordability. And I'm sorry it's cut off there a little bit, but 4%, 4.25%, 4.5%, 5%, 5.5%, 6%. So, between 4% and 6% on $250,000, it's $250, $250 difference in payment, essentially. At $250, is that, pushing a lot of people over the edge? We're not at 6%, but
right.
We will be there, right? We will be there at some point, I believe. And
it's not even, it's not that crazy because if, I know we're around the 5 mark, right? Or 4.5. I don't know.
Mid 4s.
Okay. So let's say 4.5 goes up to 5%. So we're on a $250,000 home. Our average home sale price here is $228 or something, is what we talked about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So we're talking about when people freak out about the interest rates going up, we're talking about maybe $60 more a month.
Right.
So, and that's not bad. I mean, $60 more a month. These prices are still so low, guys, that to think about, the interest rates going up a quarter or something, and maybe you're that close to your DTI that it concerns you, but if you can afford a $1,300 a month mortgage, you can afford a $1,360 because that's just taking away one Starbucks a week or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, rents are right there too. These are rent difference between largest differences between rent and monthly mortgage payments. Now, Phoenix, I don't think Phoenix is on this one. I think it's on the next slide. I'll zoom in here just so you can take a quick look at it. And these are all legitimate sources here. If you read the bottom of these things, I try to incorporate, where these images or where these charts came from. I know our Facebook things are popping up there, but they are legitimate sources here. I'll just move right to the next slide here because I think Phoenix is on this next one.
So the average mortgage in 2007 versus the average rent, that's what we're talking about?
Yes. Largest difference between monthly mortgage payment and rent in 2007. So it's 2007. So on a mortgage, you would, on an average in Phoenix, you'd pay 1188
Okay.
in a mortgage. Now, and back then, you would pay 766 in rent.
Right. So it made sense to rent.
So it made sense to kind of rent back then. However, most people were homeowners in 2007, right? That's a supply and demand kind of thing.
Right.
So rent was cheap because there weren't many renters out there. Now it's the exact opposite.
Do you have that slide?
Huh?
Do you have that slide for the opposite?
No, they didn't have a slide for that opposite right now.
Oh,
I'm just saying from our experience right now, rent is, it's pretty high. Yeah.
It's like $100. It's like $100 to $200 more than what you'd pay for a mortgage. So.
Yeah, on average.
On average, yeah.
Yeah. Now this is rent versus income growth by market. So we've seen rent growth outpace income growth, which is exactly what I was talking about before. I didn't see Phoenix on this list here, but in many metropolitan areas, it's pretty much the same here. But when you look at Denver, there 58% increase in rent, and only 19% income increase.
Yeah.
Crazy numbers. All right.
So. Yeah, I know we ran out of time, man. But so for those that are, I think this is good information for maybe next week too. But I don't know how many more slides you got. So
this is last slide. We're almost done. That's why I'm kind of rushing through it here a little bit. Single family homeownership vacancy rate, it's pretty low right now. Pretty low. This I think speaks to low inventory. Low inventory.
We're seeing that. We talked about 1.5 month supply of inventory out there.
Yeah.
Versus 3 to 5.
Right. So that's it. That's kind of behind the numbers. And again, I think I want to preface here or kind of let everybody know this is why we're seeing Ben Carson out on the home tour. This is why they've declared June as National Homeownership Month because the government has seen these numbers and they're not as good as they could be. And so there's a lot of work to do. I think they're at least talking about it. As I said before, at least they're talking about it. So now we'll start to see some action. We're already starting to see some action with Fannie Mae loosening up a little bit. So hopefully these sort of changes that are coming down the pipeline will help encourage more people to become homeowners.
Still got a lot of it is education. We have to educate the buyers on, what's out there and what we can do to get them there.
Yeah, which is the purpose of this show. Right, to help educate people and empower them to make the right decision for their family. We still have the cost of construction. That's still very, very high. I've talked to some builders. Builders can't afford to buy entry-level or build entry-level homes. They need their margins to be a lot wider. So they're building homes that are, move-up homes and things like that. So it's hard to get into those starter homes, which is also a barrier for a first-time home buyer. Well, it'll work itself out, I think, over the next couple of years. I think it'll start to kind of level itself out. We're just in this transition period right now. So don't get discouraged. When things are going right, go left, right? As the tweet said. Don't get discouraged. Just get a good team on your side. There are homes that are out there for sure. You just need the right team to represent you to find that home. That's really the bottom line. And things are going to get better. So that's good for everybody. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here. I know we went a little bit long. Do apologize about that. Appreciate everyone who stuck with us on this show. There's a lot of information. We're trying to cram in 22 minutes, and I don't want to just skip over things. I want to kind of dive into it as best we can. So thank you for doing that. Hey, I didn't play at the beginning here, but I want to play it. Not play it, but put it up here right now. If you haven't done it, maybe you're not aware of it because I haven't said it. I know Stefan hasn't done it yet. But we are up for a streaming award. So if you'd head over to www.streamingawards.com/video, vote for us there, and that would be much appreciated. So I want to get that disclaimer. I got to do that disclaimer there.
Yeah, maybe before the show's over.
I know.
maybe at the beginning. All right.
Timing's everything, Stefan. Timing's everything. All right, buddy. Hey, we're going to wrap it up. Again, if anybody's out, or if you're out there looking to buy, sell, refinance, or invest in property, we want to be your team of choice. So please reach out to us. We'd love to represent you in your American dream pursuit. If you're watching us on Facebook, please like our page. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that. All right, everyone, have a great day. Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll do a little reflecting and a feature. We're going to do a feature, right?
Yes, we got a brand new property.
All right, cool.
Feature.
So we'll do reflecting on the week that was, and we'll feature that property. Everyone have a great day. Stay cool out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.